What if a single episode could solve three of history's most mind-bending mysteries: a nameless corpse on a beach, a legendary horse that changed the course of a war, and the greatest literary whodunit of all time? You buckle up, because Expedition Files Season 3, Episode 3 drops us right into the center of real-life Cold War spy drama, dusty ruins that rewrite ancient history, and Elizabethan theater so tangled with secrets you'll be guessing Shakespeare's true identity long after the credits roll. Let's break down every twist, every clue, and every moment that'll have you yelling, "Wait, away!" at your screen. Josh Gates kicks things off with the unsolved case of the mysterious Somerton Man. Seriously, this story is pure noir. It's December 1st, 1948, on Somerton Beach, Australia. Early morning, cool breeze. But all eyes are locked on a sharply dressed man who looks like he's just napping against the seawall. Nope, he's dead. And what instantly stands out is just how bizarre the scene is. Immaculate suit, polished shoes on a sandy beach, mind, and not a single ID on his body. Investigators reach for methodical detective work, but are thrown off by the total lack of wounds, blood, or any sign of foul play. So how did this guy die, and who the heck was he? Detectives Lionel Lean and Len Brown take the case. And let's just say the clues don't exactly fall into their laps. Inside the man's pockets, chewing gum, matches, an aluminum comm, bus and train tickets, a few cigarettes, stuff you'd expect. Nothing that tells a story. But it gets weirder. The labels on all his clothes have been snipped away, removed with obsessive care. Even his feet and calves are strangely muscular. He could have been a dancer. Some theorize maybe a ballet artist. The autopsy is a bust, no causes found, only vague suspicions he was poisoned. Draw blanks. Because of death unknown, it becomes one of Australia's most notorious cold cases. 6 weeks of dogged investigation go by, and finally, detectives turn up an abandoned suitcase at a train station. Inside, more clothes with all the labels gone, and a single possible clue: T, a necktie embroidered T. Keen. If you think this means the mystery's solved, think again. There's no missing person named of kin anywhere in Australia. As the man's features threaten to fade, the police even make a plaster cast of his face and torso, determined to preserve something of his identity. Then comes the episode's first big twist. Months later, a hidden pocket in the dead man's pants reveals a game-changing scrap of paper tamam shud. Persian for it is finished. It's poetic, but also sinister, especially once police link the phrase to the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, a centuries-old book of Persian verse. The exact copy from which the note was torn turns up abandoned in a local car, fitting the puzzle piece perfectly. The entire affair has the ring of a farewell, even a coded suicide, but there's still no ID. Things heat up when the book reveals more faint lines, like an encrypted message pressed into the pages, an unbreakable code, and a phone number which leads the detectives to a woman named Jessica Thompson, living just steps from where the body was found. Jessica nearly faints when shown the man's death mask, but swears she doesn't know him. The only connection is that years before, she'd given a copy of the Rubaiyat to her wartime flame Af Boxall, an army officer. Was Boxall the dead man on the beach? Not even close. Boxall is alive and well, with his own copy of the book intact in Sydney. So who was Somerton Man for years? Speculation runs wild. Spy drama, forbidden romance, heartbreak. Some think the dancer's calves point to a family link with Jessica's son Robin, also a ballet dancer, and DNA from photos suggest a near certainty of a connection. But for decades, it's all shadow and conjecture. The episode's climax comes with real-world DNA science. Professor Derek Abbott, looking at that old plaster cast, spots a few small hairs. He manages to extract DNA from them. He finally triangulating the Somerton Man's genes with living relatives. The answer: after 70 years, the dead man is Carl Charles Webb, electrical engineer from Victoria. Webb endured tragedy and isolation, and in his own poetry wrote about death as a great desire. The time mark T. Kien was actually J. Keen, Webb's nephew. The mysterious book, the code, the connection to the poet in 4-line verses matches Webb's profile. Not a secret agent, suicide, heart attack, rare poison, these remain possibilities. But for the first time ever, his identity, if not his fate, is confirmed. Tamam shud, it is finished. Now, the episode changes gear and tackles the Trojan War. Did it happen? Or is it just Hollywood fantasy with lots of sandals and shiny armor? Josh walks us through the legends. Helena leapt to Troy. Greeks camp for 10 years outside high walls. The ultimate deception, the Trojan horse. Greeks retreat, leaving behind a massive wooden horse as a gift to Athena. Trojans celebrate, wheel the horse into their city, and boom, Greek commandos pour out of its belly. For centuries, historians struggle to prove Troy existed at all, much less the war. Cue Heinrich Schliemann, wild-eyed 19th century amateur archaeologist, who believed with his whole chest that Troy was real, buried beneath a mound in modern Turkey called Hisarlik. With questionable methods, think dynamite and pickaxes, Schliemann uncovers layer after layer of ruins, golden treasures, crowns, and declares he's found Troy. But here's the first twist: he dug too far. The sparkly loot was over 1,000 years too old for the Trojan War. Later, careful scientists dig in, literally and figuratively, focusing on the right layer, Z Troy V, and the evidence meant massive walls, signs of fire, destruction. He buried weapons that a great city fell violently right around 1200 BC, right where Homer's story sits. But did the Greeks actually use a wooden horse? No sign of that, but ancient siege engines, animal-shaped battering rams, and wheeled weapons could have inspired the legend. Hippos in Greek could mean horse or just a war machine. As for the cast, Agamemnon, Helen, Menelaus, Hittite tablets from neighboring kingdoms mention leaders in cities eerily similar to those in the Iliad. So the upshot, while Homer's tale is mythologized, archaeological evidence now accepts that Troy was real, the war happened, and the famous ploy may have sprung from truth, however distorted over centuries, based on a true story. You bet, just with a heavy dose of epic embellishment. For the final segment, the show takes on the eternal question, did Shakespeare really write the plays that made him famous? Enter conspiracy theories, secret codes, and a cast of rival geniuses worthy of a Shakespearean comedy. The known facts about William Shakespeare seem underwhelming for a man credited with inventing drama as we know it. He comes from humble roots in Stratford-upon-Avon, vanishes for several lost years, resurfaces as an actor and writer, then pens 39 blockbusters without any real record of travel, education, EU, or contact with the world's nobility. The plays brim with insider knowledge of foreign courts, complex political plots, and locations Shakespeare supposedly never visited. Some of his early hits arrive with no listed author was appear. The spellings are all over the map, even his signatures vary wildly. Suspects abound. Sir Francis Bacon, the philosopher and statesman, had the pedigree, but as critics say, likely would have claimed the glory. Christopher Marlowe, playwright and rumored Elizabethan spy, allegedly fakes his own death in 1593. You conveniently right before Shakespeare's greatest works surface. Modern stylistic analysis actually detects Marlowe's fingerprints in some plays, but there's no ironclad proof he wrote them all. In then comes Edward de Vere, the Earl of Oxford, rich, well-connected, worldly, and a writer in his own right. Dr. Roger Strittmatter, literary detective extraordinaire, he points to de Vere as Shakespeare's true identity, an idea first mentioned a century ago. De Vere had traveled through Italy, lived at court, and written comedies before Shakespeare even hit the London stage. His annotated Bible and insider themes match those in the plays, lending credence to the theory. Strittmatter's main argument rests on a coded message in Francis Mears' Pallades Tamia, a book from 1598 listing English and classical authors. The lists are unbalanced, suggesting that two names really belong to the same man. The Greek equivalent for Shakespeare, Aristonymus, meaning aristocratic name, neatly matching only one candidate, the Earl of Oxford. The implication, Edward de Vere is Shakespeare, hidden by necessity due to snobby aristocratic rules against public playwriting. Shakespeare provides a mask and a way to collect money and fame for both men. But as Josh points out, this theory, compelling though it is, hasn't won over most scholars. The romantic idea of the bard as a hardworking country boy making it big still holds sway. Perhaps the genius matters more than the name. Wrapping up, The Expedition Files Season 3, Episode 3 dives into the heart of three incredible mysteries, twists them with new evidence and sharp science, and manages to do justice to both our awe at history's puzzles and the patience required to finally crack them. Whether it's forensic DNA deep dives or deciphering literary ciphers, the message rings clear. Some secrets don't stay buried forever. Before you go, let me know which part blew your mind the most. Was it the Somerton man's final fate, the real story behind Troy, or the Shakespeare identity mystery? You drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button if you love a good historical twist. And don't forget to share and subscribe for more epic recaps and breakdowns. See you on the next expedition.